DC Multiverse! Batman, Robin, Poison Ivy, and Batgirl. All four of these characters each come with a piece to the collect-to-build Mr. Freeze. Funny voices aside, I like the fact that the packaging for these is actually different than what we usually get. Anywho, all out of the packaging, and we have all four figures plus Mr. Freeze. And of course, each character is going to come with a trading card, which is typical for McFarlane toys. Every figure comes with a trading card, as usual. These are really nice headshots, though. That's a great shot of Alicia Silverstone. Well, all of them, really. I mean, I know it wasn't Todd behind the camera who took these pictures. These are older promo images, but they really work. Do you want to know what the cards say on the back? Well, feel free to pause this at any time and have a little gander. I know the writing's going to be kind of small, but this is what I'm working with today. Now, I want to start out by looking at the Batman first, the George Clooney nipples bat, and then move my way down the line, finishing off with Mr. Freeze. Now, those of us who started out with the Batman 6-pack will remember the original George Clooney Batman figure that came with this pack, the one that had the cloth goods cape. And you'll immediately notice that other than the capes, right, this one here being made out of like a rubbery rubber, and the other one made out of cloth, there really is no difference. There is a little bit difference in the finish of the two. I'm not really sure if it's coming through on the camera. The box set has a slightly more matte finish, and this one here has a slightly darker, slightly more glossier finish. But overall, you can see that they are very, very much the same. Personally, I think that this rubber cape has a nice texture, but it's just weird. There's this like weird powdery stuff on my cape. I'm like, why is there this weird powdery stuff? And I can rub it off, but then later it shows up again. There's just more of it. Maybe coming out of the cape. I think that's something that happens with cheaper rubber and cheaper plastics, but I don't really know for it. You can see that, right? You can see that it's like changing color there. Weird. Anywho, the articulation for Batman is, oh my goodness, he's got a sucking gut wound. It looks like look at the nipples look like eyes, and the mouth here. It looks like, he looks like a wise Toad character. Just bring me your questions, and I'll answer as best I can. But yeah, the articulation's, you know, he's got a really good amount of articulation up in the torso area. Of course, you got the waist, that's going to be 360. You got the groin, McFarlane bat groin. This is not so good. I'm really going to work it. Oh, I pulled his leg off. I pulled his leg off. No, not a big deal. Ow. I just hurt my thumb. It hurts. I mean, I wasn't crying. So yeah, kind of. That's deplorable. I don't like that. I really want to have more. Give us more here. That way we can really actually get the characters into some more dynamic poses. There's no thigh cut, and there's barely an approximation of a thigh cut here. Same old story. Anywho, we do have double jointed knees for groin kneeing, and we also do have ankles, which are on a nice rounded hinge, toes. We know what all this is about. We've seen this about a bajillion times before. You got that approximation of a butterfly. This is really just a socket set inside of a hole. Don't believe me? I'll rip his arm off, and I will show you the inside. A lot of people call this a butterfly. It is not indeed a butterfly. A butterfly is a hinge. This is not. This is just a socket on the inside because the peg goes farther in. You want to have more articulation. We do have the bicep swivel. We have the double jointed elbows and the wrists on the rounded hinge. I mean, this is going to be a very, very well articulated Batman figure. And this figure actually has more articulation than Batman ever had in the movies, because this version can do this with his head. Bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi, bibbidi bobbidi. And it's not like he has to do, you know, the Batman look. Overall, cool looking figure. Pretty much the same as the last one. If cloth goods capes aren't your thing, then this one will be more up your alleyway. And just like the last one, the head sculpt on this guy is outstanding, and so are the paint apps, especially on the face here. Love it. And next, I feel like looking at Dick. This is the next logical choice I figured to review since we've reviewed Batman, so now we will review Robin. Let's start with a close-up. Not a bad figure. Sculpt looks pretty darn good. You got the nipples. You got the red Robin symbol here on the front. You've got his belt. All the things that I didn't show you on Batman because we've already reviewed that Batman, essentially. All the details on his boots. Everything is here that's supposed to be here. He's got his Robin gauntlets here that look like glorified motorcycle gauntlets. Got the spikes down here, the 3 scallops down there on his gloves. You got that collar line for the cape. I really like how they did the collar. That looks pretty darn cool. And on the back, we've got that rubbery, soft rubbery cape, which I think works out really well. And I like the fact that it is kind of wisped to the side. It's mostly neutral, but it is just a little bit kind of doing its own thing. And I'm okay with that. I think that that looks pretty cool. I will say that this is just weird. The whole, you got the brownie, reddy, maroon little socket here, and then you've got the actual shoulder, and you can see that, well, you got to have him posed just right, otherwise it stands out. And I don't have the time to do that. I'm just going to stand him there, and it's going to look whack, and that's all right. It just is what it is. As far as the face sculpt for old Dickie Boy goes here, I'm actually going to move the light so you can get a better view of the face. Like, it's not terrible. We can sort of see Chris O'Donnell's face in there, and it's not good, it's not bad. I think that it's about average. It certainly could have been a lot worse, and I think probably with an even better paint job, this would probably bring out all the fine details that make this look like Chris O'Donnell in the movie. But as far as articulation goes, how articulated is he? Well, let's find out. The head is on a ball peg, and it does okay. And the torso's on a ball peg as well, and it also does okay. When you combine that with the waist, oh man, that is some super limbo action. I like this. This is good. This is all right. Forward, though, how much? Oh, go, lean forward. I guess that's as good as we're going to get. And the shoulders, of course, have the little socket. The rounded hinge, 360 bicep. You've got the double jointed elbows that crunch up nicely. You got the hinge in the wrists. We have McFarlane's groin down here. Well, not his groin, but like a McFarlane style groin. Do we have any real... Nope. I went and pulled his leg off again, just like I did to Batman. See, in theory, I should be able to get some movement in here because it's inside of a rounded socket. I've taken these things apart many, many times. Maybe I need to start boiling these just so that I can start using their thigh cut. Maybe these have all had a fairly okay thigh cut and it's always just stuck. Anyway, stick his leg back on and show you his... Oh, he's got stiff knees like I do, but they're nice and crunchy. You got the ankles doing their ankle thing, pivoting and rotating, and then you got the toe. And since we already are 2 Bat characters in the hole, why don't we continue that trend with Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl? I think that this is a pretty fine attempt at her bat suit. I mean, I don't have every piece of her suit memorized. I'm not that guy. But I will say that this does look like Todd and the team did a pretty good attempt at trying to capture what her suit looked like in the movie. I used to think when I was younger, how does she fight crime in that tight looking corset thing? And then that would immediately turn to, who cares? It's a comic book movie and it doesn't have to be real. They did a good job on her incredibly high, thigh-high Batgirl boots. And we do have that bat emblem right there on the chest. Cape looks more or less like it did in the movies. It's got like a nice sort of draped look to it in between each of the scallops. I like that. I think that it works out really nicely. And also her really long Batgirl gloves. Like, you probably don't realize how long they are, but they actually go up to here. They go all the way down. As for the face, I don't think it's perfect, but I certainly think it's passable as Alicia Silverstone. You can see what they're going for here in the nose and the mouth and with the chin and the cheekbone shape. Perhaps a little wide, maybe not. Nah, I think this is actually pretty good. Yeah, final verdict, I think this is actually a pretty good attempt at Alicia Silverstone's face. As for her articulation level, I always like to start with the torso because that's the easiest one. The torso and the waist, and you can see that she can bend over quite well, and she can lean back quite well. So the torso offers quite a bit of articulation. If you're looking for really good head movement from Alicia Silverstone here, you're probably not going to be satisfied based on the fact that the hair really is something that is going to hinder that big time. So don't expect her to look up and use her non-essential, non-existent, didn't come within the package back grapple to look up to the sky to see where she's going, because she just can't. It's not a thing. Arms, of course, attached with the socket, and you're going to go up and get a really reasonable T-pose, I would think. You got your 360 swivel, double jointed elbows. You got your McFarlane groin there with the clickety-clicks in the middle. You can hear them doing their thing. And, oh, would you look at that? How come with the females there's always a little bit more than we get with the males? I mean, this is still not good. Don't get me wrong, not good. But it's certainly better than we're getting with the males here. And then she can do like this, and then she can do like this with the ankle, and go do like that, around in a circle, clickety-click, and it's molded to be the same shape as the boot, not just a round, ugly hinge, and then you got the toe. And that leaves us with just one more non-collectible figure, and that is Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy. I really think that Todd, his team, did a fantastic bang-up job with the look of this figure. I think it looks great. For some reason, when I see her, I want to say, ho, 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 Green Giant. It looks like the Jolly Green Giant's wife. As you can see, it is accurate to the suit that she wore in the movie, so I can't throw any shade at the look of this figure. The fact that Uma Thurman's character design has her with these really weird leafs on her eyebrows. Okay, that's weird. That's weird. But I think that Todd has done a great job translating said weird eyebrow leafs into action figure form. I love her red hair. It's a little bit softer than Batgirl's, I will admit. And she's covered in leaves as if she's been rolling around in the grass outside. Even a little tushy is covered in ivy leaves. They've got 2 tones of paint on them, which is kind of fun. And she's also got this black vine that goes down her leg right here, all the way down her legs where it darkens into her little Poison Ivy shoes. And I like Poison Ivy's arm gauntlets. I mean, I am partial to bare arms, but I'm also actually more partial to Poison Ivy with green skin, which this one is not. If you are looking to turn this Poison Ivy into a more classic version, you'll find that it's actually not that hard. To make this version, all I did was swap off the heads, and I took the DC Collectibles Poison Ivy, the new 52 version, and yeah, I had to dremel the neck a little bit and dremel the hole out a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be, you're not getting it for free this time. Sometimes they make you work for it. In this case, you got to work for it a little bit. But it's a pretty simple customization, and I had to use a bit of acetone on her cheek to get rid of, it was like leaf makeup on her face. It looked kind of dumb. And she is fairly articulated as well. I've already taken some time to muck with this figure, and you can see that she's she is ready to go to the gym and do her workouts, because there is quite a bit of movement in the torso and in the waist down here. Well, we can see what we get. We got that McFarlane groin. I'm going to test it here for the first time, though. I haven't... That's abysmal. That is not good. And then we've got one Poison Ivy knee. Two Poison Ivy knee. They crunch up nicely. We got the ankles. We know what they're going to do. They need no introduction. Same thing with the toes. the rounded hinges with the socket, and the bicep swivel is actually, it doesn't look like it at first, but there is a bicep swivel, and it's hidden at the top of her long arm glove gauntlet thing. And then finally, if you're looking to see what she can do as far as her skills with her head go, well, you know, she's not very skilled at all, because she can't really do much of anything. I mean, I can turn it around backwards, but I mean, I don't really know why I'd want to do that, because she's not an owl, for Pete's sake. She is a temptress of the vine. So there's not really a lot I can do there. All this big hair gets in the way, but I'm not going to complain, because if you don't have the hair over the shoulders getting in the way, then it ends up being way over here, and it's blowing in the wind, and personally, I like my hair in a more neutral pose, so I will take less articulation as far as her head goes. And then finally, all put together here, we have the criminal of cold, the insubordinate of ice, the of frostbite. And this guy actually does come with some accessories. He actually has a shooty blast for the end of his freeze gun. I thought that there was no guns allowed in any of the toys, but this is definitely gun-shaped, and it came with this toy, as well as these ice pieces for sticking to your characters. And then Mr. Freeze's freeze cannon actually looks pretty good. I think that it is fairly accurate to how it looks in the movie. I honestly don't remember, so I couldn't tell you. If you're someone that remembers this just by, by memory, that's how you remember things, then you'll know whether or not this is accurate or not. I'm pretty sure it is. And this is just overall, this is a pretty fantastic looking figure. I'm sure that there are more details, more paint details that I could add to this guy to make him look even better, but for a factory vanilla Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze, yeah, I think he looks pretty legit. Like, I think he looks A-okay for sure. And his head sculpt here, I'm going to come and zoom back in here on his little freezy noodle here. Yeah, I like this. His freeze helmet looks pretty accurate, looks nice. You got that translucent blue plastic. I can definitely see Schwarzenegger's face in there. Like that mouth, that nose, those attack brows, that's definitely Schwarzenegger. The Governator is all over that portrait. And I think he's pretty well articulated too. I'm just going to take these shoulder pieces off so that you can actually see the articulation. They do move out of the way, but I want you to be able to see it. So we have his noodle rolling around up there on that ball peg. We have his shoulders getting into a satisfying T with the socket, with the hinge. Is there a bicep swivel? I don't think that there is. That looks like it would be a bicep swivel. That is the perfect opportunity for one, but it is not one, which means, the rotation has been added instead at the elbow. So that's okay for me. I mean, as long as there's rotation somewhere, that's passable for me. Of course, we have single jointies, so that's really all we're doing. He can flex his arms and go, look at me, I'm Arnold, I'm gigantic. He's got ginormous wrist hinges there. And of course, this is going to go spinny, and this is going to ratchet back and forth. Oh, that's tight. Oh, that is really tight, which means they're not going to get loose anytime soon, though. You've got the torso, and you can even see this right here where it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I'm assuming that this is actually pumping cold water all around his suit. Or maybe it's Freon. The guy practically is a refrigerator. And then he's got that cold cod piece down here that goes round over his buttocks and the rest of his suit underneath there. And you've got this it seems like cold water. It seems like this is like actually icy cold fluid. If I remember correctly from the movie, that's what it is anyway. And then he's got his knees. Oh, and they rotate. I didn't think they were going to do this, but they do it. I want to know about this. I want to know. Come on, show me. What you got? Well, that's lackluster. The knees are single jointies. So that's it. What you're looking at is what you get. They do rotate, which is fun. I wish they all did that, regardless of them being double jointed or not. And then you have his big old foot with a, give me that motion. Come on. Oh, that's tight. Oh, that is so tight. Just gotta, wow. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, it does get, I mean, how much articulation, ow, could you get? Ow, it keeps pinching my finger. How much articulation in your foot could you get with a big old boot on like that? I mean, I think it's pretty realistic. And then, of course, he's got toe. So altogether, I think this is a pretty strong wave of figures. I would like to see Todd go forth and do more movie characters from the Bat universe, like the Joker and Penguin and Catwoman. And we need Robin in the actual Robin suit and not in the one that looks more like Nightwing. And please, for the love of God and all things holy, Riddler. I wish that this was a 5-figure wave and that Bane was the collectible, to be honest. I feel like that would have made a little bit more sense. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. Hopefully you found this video to be an enjoyable waste of time for the time being. If you did, you know where all the buttons are that do all the things, and I will see you with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.